I was working as a professional gender trainer. So when gender it's come to anyone any in my mind, so I know the theoretical understanding of gender, patriarchy and all. But when it's come to about the city and gender, so I never think about the planning aspects of cities, the infrastructural aspects of cities. So most of the cities is built or infrastructurally done by the men. So when we think about as a space, so I never think like whenever I go to new places, I feel uncomfortable. But the space also is not made for a woman. So there are spaces which is built by the men, especially heterosexual men. So I never think about in that sense how infrastructure is important when we think about gender. So in that sense, I able to think in multidisciplinary way, and also in a different way. Economy is also important to build any infrastructure, so that I able to understand how economy is also important part of when we think about any kind of uh, implementation, any kind of we want to we I always think in very activist mode and any social worker mode. For any problem my approach is mostly in a social worker perspective. But when I'm able to think about thinking in policy making, but also how all this aspect when we solve any problem, that is important. So we have a doctor, we have designer, and so many people, engineers, so architecture. So that help a lot. Like when we talk about health, it's a services, and every Indian citizen should access that services. But I never think like when the infrastructure or a planner think about as a health and services, they talk about infrastructure should be viable to every citizen, that they can access the health. So how I can understand the integration, and that helped me to understand architect. So the friends of mine, they explain the, for an example, housing. So they explain there are codes, national building codes. So any house they should be making according to that code. But as a social worker, I only thinking, okay, housing is everyone should get housing, but there should be a adequacy, there should be a planning, how they can make a plan. So that really helped me to understand uh, integration. And because of the UFP program, multidisciplinary program, able to understand. Faculty always get touch with you how you're understanding or not. They plan office hours. So anyone not able to because it's a multidisciplinary program, so someone from social work or someone from health may not able to understand planning, so they can go and talk. Someone from engineering background, they're not able to understand identity, how it's important, so they can go and talk to them and understand. So faculty also suggest them to read something. If they don't understand, they can come and talk to them. That is important factor I feel in UFP. It's different and unique. I never seen in my past educational experience this kind of faculty interact with in very personal way and try to help every individual, every student in this to learn more, to understand. I think practica and integrative is like whatever we learning in commons, we see in the field. So I will I really like the integrative case. So at the same time, we were learning about identity, planning, and we went to the BBMP offices, and we went to the West Speakers offices. So we tried to, and after coming back to the field, we have a discussion what we see and what not. So that really helped to connect directly the theoretical approach theoretical understanding and practical reality, how that segregating or interacting to each other. It's not like theory is saying different and practice is different, they are same. So that is I really like in the UFP course. Now cities are developing over the period of time. It's emerging, new cities emerging. So in that sense, UFE is important. Those who want to develop their career or understand how city works, it's really important to know, to be understand as a multidisciplinary way. Life at IIHS, it's a kind of mix. It's not a same way. So initially it was very difficult for me to adjust in this diverse kind of environment. And after coming from like at from the home to directly here with the lots of new people, so initially it was very difficult to adjust in this place. And over a period of time, we living together at stanza, so gradually we start interacting with each other, and group work in a assignment we started talking to understand people. That helped to help us to build a bonding with each other. When we live together, when we work together, that somehow help how people understand, like as a different background people think differently because of their educational background. So that also help to work together as well as to learn from them how to uh, how to express anything, how to work on data, how to think, how planner thinks, how architecture thinks, how as a journalist thinks. So that also really help to understand their perspective, how they think. In our group, there are couple of people were very fascinated about films. So they started a film club, UFA film club, and we used to watch movies together. So people may suggest, okay, I want to watch Jab We Met or I want to watch Highway. So couple of people, one of our fellow have projector. So there is a one room in stanza which is for a empty. So anyone want to study or anyone want to do anything, they can use that space. So that space we capture as a film room. So we used to watch movie there. We watch lots of movies. Reading circle. So it's also emerge when people are in disciplinary, lots of different background, multidisciplinary background. So we we heard that last fellows also tried to do this to help each other and develop their skill, to develop their understanding. So we also started. So and everyone have their whatever they want to read, they came together, they start reading, they explain it. So that is also really interesting to how people from, maybe I'm from social work, so may I read some roundtable article. Anita from environmental background, she came with the one really nice article, I don't remember, but she able to explain how that text or that article is important to in current context. So that also really build bonding between us while living together. I think exposure visit. It's really interesting. We're not only learning, we're also exploring cities. And it's not like I'm from Mumbai, I'm exploring Mumbai only. No, I went to Hyderabad, and that is first time I was there and exploring Hyderabad, about their culture, about their history, about the politics, about the infrastructure, so many things. It's one. It's also sometimes it's overwhelming. Also, like so many things we have to understand, but it's also fun. Like we 20 people living together, exploring city. That's really interesting. Like the most favorite part of UFV. So I want to carry forward what I done, but as a sector wise, I'm thinking I'm more interested in housing sector, so I'm looking forward to work in that sector in ground level, as well as I'm thinking I want to work in policy level. So I wish I can go.